Woo! It's a spooky
Ooh.
episode. It's our 13th. It's
Spooky that we're still doing this.
spooky that you make that comment almost every episode in some iteration.
Mhm.
This
I'm
is
rebooting the same comment over and over again.
but yes, it's number 13, and I thought we haven't really done an episode where the number of the episode we're up to kind of matches to the show itself, or to the topic itself rather. Like, I thought, hey, we should talk about 7 when we get to episode 7. And instead we talked about something else. I can't even remember. Was it the Warriors?
Yeah, I think it was.
Damn. No, I think Warriors was episode 9.
Well, isn't there 9 members of the Warriors?
Oh,
At some
shit.
stage? I'm sure at some stage before most of them die, there is.
Yeah.
There's at least 9.
Yeah, there's 9. I saw 9 people in that film at some point.
There's
So
at
it's
least
fine.
9 gangs.
Yeah, and I mean, for episode 1, obviously we talked about Batman. We should have talked about We Are Number 1 from what's it called? What's that show called? That meme show.
It's not even a meme
Lazy
show.
Town.
Lazy
Oh yeah, I know it's not designed as one, but like
Kingsley, get off my legs, mate. You can't have any of my food. He's just fucking scratching the shit out of my leg, trying to get to my food. I fed you when I got home from work, you bastard. Go to bed.
Kingsley makes another appearance. No, he's a funny chap. He's very volatile though. He'll be
He's
like
pissing me off right now.
he'll roll over and go, "You can give me tummy rub." 2 seconds later, whoa! I don't remember saying you could do that. I nip you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna nip you now, bro.
Yeah, no nose for you. You
Um,
should see the blood that comes out of my nose when he bites me on there, bro. It bleeds for a solid 30 minutes at least.
damn, is it almost like you're watching a slasher film with all the
Yeah.
blood?
It's like one of those Friday the 13th title cards, man, with the blood dripping off.
Oh yeah, I never even finished my point before. Yeah, so we're talking about Friday the 13th, or one of the better ones because it's episode 13. All right, there's our double segue.
How do we always accidentally segue into shit when we're just talking about random things?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I
Just
guess
lines up.
we're subconsciously thinking, okay, we've been chatting about random shit for enough. Let's actually discuss what the people are here to listen to. Maybe. But I don't know.
No.
It's always good to. It's always people like the Kingsley episodes. I constantly get emails saying, "Oh, you need to bring that Kingsley dog on more. He really livens up everything."
Lighting up my legs with scratches right now, mate. Really painful, actually. Do you want some? If I give you one bite, will you fuck off?
I give you 10 scratches. You give me 1 bite.
No, he's still here. He just swallowed it the whole. Just stayed here.
Bruh.
All right. Okay. What was the fan film name that we watched? I actually forgot.
Oh, goodness. It's a bro, I don't even know. It's the one.
I'll type it up quickly.
Yeah.
We can talk about X in the meantime.
Jason X in the meantime. Yes. So we watched a fan film, and we also watched one of the better, I think, Friday 13th films.
One of the better. I mean, I guess because it's so not generic that it's like.
Oh, I was kind of saying that sarcastically. Obviously failed.
Okay.
It was kind of very trashy. It's the first one I've actually watched in whole, believe it or not. Jason X.
Mhm.
I'm sure most people wouldn't recommend it as a first one when it's like, hey, I want to get into this series. Which film should I watch? No one's going to say Jason X. Start at where, sorry?
The one that has the least to do with any camps. Actually, 9 is the worst one. 10 is way better than that.
Yeah. I mean, would you where would the first one fit? Because obviously that doesn't even have Jason in it. Like, that's probably the most different, right? Or
well, I mean, in terms of content, it's quite boring. There are literally like uncut scenes of people doing the dishes in that fucking movie, bro.
Well, I guess no, Jason X. Where to start? From memory, one of the weird things about actually the very opening was how disconnected, like, the title sequence felt to what followed. I think at the time I said something to the effect of, I felt like I was watching a Lord of the Rings movie. I wish I was, actually. What followed wasn't anywhere near par, but No. It was yeah. Basically, I guess for people who don't know, the premise essentially is Jason's doing his usual killing. He gets what he gets sort of cryogenically frozen by accident along with one of his victims, and they end up in the future. And he just and he's just going around slashing people. And then the main point of the film, or what people look forward to, happens in the final 10 minutes, where he becomes a Super Saiyan style Jason.
Uber Jason is what he's called.
I don't remember him driving any Ubers. Let's go. What was that? Sorry.
Would you get in the car if Jason was driving?
Why not?
No.
Why not? You know, that's fine.
Well, I don't really have much to say about Jason X, to be honest. Like,
It's
funny. David Cronenberg has a cameo at the start.
Yes, I didn't know. I actually don't know what he looked like. So
yeah, neither did I.
Yeah, it's basically just
expect, I guess.
Oh, beg your pardon?
I said he looks pretty much how you'd expect.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of the film's just very, very silly, very cheap looking, and in a kind of unfortunate twist of irony. So when Jason kind of basically he's sort of murdered by this sex bot, I guess you would call her, yeah. And then he kind of is reanimated and comes back stronger, and his costume looks really bad, the hockey mask and everything, and it looks like he's just wearing a plastic Halloween store thing. Even that might be giving it too much credit. But yeah, no, it was good, I guess.
Yeah, it's entertaining. If you watch it with a group of people, it's like, yeah, this is fun. If you watch it alone, you're like,
yeah. And then what happened with the ship crash? There's like a very fucking funny, unintentionally funny sequence where they just murder a whole space city by mistake because they couldn't dock properly.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I don't understand how that happened, because that means their ship must be like the scale of their ship must be insane to run through a fucking city and just flatten it.
It's all made out of glass, bro. Did you see it?
Yeah, true.
And then all the space air got sucked in after they broke the glass. I don't know if the glass would survive out there like that, but I guess it does.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they didn't bank on someone crashing a ship ever, I guess. I don't know.
No, they're all just that good.
But I mean, to be fair, you know, when they built the Suez Canal, they didn't think that ships would clog it up twice in 1 year. Well, that was Jason. That was Jason X.
Yep, that's my review of Jason X.
We put a little more effort than the filmmakers did into that one.
Yeah, we did.
And then we also watched the fan film.
Jason
Rising was the one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm always interested to watch these sorts of fan films, because I think even if that kind of falters, what's really clear to me is just how much they love and respect the characters, especially when you compare them to sort of director for hires and studio execs that want to pump out official sequels. You know what I mean? Like, you could really tell that these guys, with some of the casting choice and some of the kills and location and all that, really did have a love for the series. I think, is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty good. It's about as good as your standard Friday. I'll say that much.
Yeah. And the premise, it's kind of where's it? You were sort of trying to guess where it kind of fell in terms of like relating to the film series. Do we know, or is it kind of just its own thing?
It's just pretty much after part 4.
Right. Is that the one where he's killed?
Yep.
Okay.
Between part 4 and part 5.
Interesting.
But it technically would retcon everything after part 5.
Well, I mean, that's what a lot of these horror films seem to like doing, especially the Halloween series.
Yeah, because Jason coming back to life doesn't happen until part 6.
Yeah.
Because
part 4 was kind of like, that was sort of the first time they're going, yeah, let's end the series type thing, right?
And then they made 5, which was with a character named Roy, who's the killer.
Yep.
And then at the end of that, they hint that Tommy Jarvis is going to become the next Jason, and everybody thought, wow, this is really interesting. Bring Jason back.
Yeah, so it had an issue with You just have too good a like villain. Like yeah, that happened with Halloween as well, didn't it? He didn't. Oh, he did die. I think in Halloween 2. I think Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis do die, and the third one is completely separate because they envisioned that whole series to be an anthology of different stories taking place around or on Halloween.
Yeah, there was supposed to be a second Michael Myers movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure John Carpenter wrote it very begrudgingly. That would probably have been one of his first tastes of Hollywood fucking with him, which would continue pretty much throughout the 80s. So by the 90s, he's just completely burnt out and cynical. But yeah, apparently I haven't actually seen the fourth one when it reintroduces Michael, but people kind of joke about it because I think Dr. Loomis he was also in the explosion, and then the only like reference to it is like a scar he's got. No loss of body parts or anything. He's just got like a cut as if someone sliced at him with a knife. He's in the middle of this fucking massive. He's basically unkillable. They're like gods fighting one another. Him and Michael Myers.
Yeah, him and Loomis and Michael Myers. Yeah, not good. The only really good Halloween movies is 1, 2, and the reboot, and maybe Halloween Kills if it's any good.
Yeah, I would love to watch Halloween 3 just because it sounds like I like kind of oddball films, and that sounds very bizarre.
It's not as bizarre as you'd think. I mean, it's a bizarre premise, pretty mundane film.
Oh damn!
Like, so do you know roughly what happens? Yeah, you don't really know what it's about.
Oh no, I know. It's to do with isn't it like someone puts chips of Stonehenge in masks to control them or transform them into like zombies or kill them?
Murder all the kids. Yeah. Like if they watch the TV with their mask on Halloween, it melts their heads. It's like,
damn. Yeah. See, that's sort of like that sounds like some fun schlock type stuff.
Sounds
I would
cool.
enjoy it.
It sounds great.
It's just dull execution, is it?
It's boring as all hell.
Oh,
in my opinion.
That's a shame.
They don't really do much of it. There is this one fun jingle in it though, where they're like the song they sing for the kids to get hype about Halloween is like say that it's like 3 more days to Halloween, Halloween, Halloween.
Oh right,
like that tune.
Nice.
And it's really fucking annoying.
So yeah, it sounds like that would be stuck in your head.
Yeah, it is.
With the Jason Rising film we watched, it did kind of suffer. And look, you can't really do much about it. It's obviously a low budget film. The cameras they use very smooth. Everything feels a little too fast movement wise. If that makes any sense, what I'm saying, like just kind of there's more frames than there should be, I guess, per second.
Right, like it's not really a movie camera. It's like a sitcom camera or something like that. It's like a documentary camera.
Yeah. There's a bit more motion than otherwise should be. I don't know how to really explain it. It just sort of seemed a bit funky and a little off-putting. Well, there's that
thing about movies being like only 20 something frames per second.
Yeah,
sitcoms 40, aren't they? Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's interesting because I remember I had actually watched. I want to say it was the first Indiana Jones on an old TV we had, which I was able to fix this in settings. It kind of had a few correction settings where it kind of played films in a higher frame rate than it otherwise would, or like smoothed out everything and got rid of what's called motion blur, I think. And it made Indiana Jones look like a sitcom, and everything looked like a very clear set. Basically, it kind of broke everything into its own element, by which I mean, if you take the ball rolling down behind Indy as he's running forward, that ball, the set, and Harrison Ford all felt like 3 different parts, kind of like there was a clear foreground between them rather than in one picture.
Yeah, right.
Kind of like if you have a pop-up book, right? The characters in front and the book, there's a clear distance between.
It's like that Galactus comic that Davin sent through the other day.
Yeah.
Or a couple of weeks ago now, I remember. And like he's kind of meant to be standing in the city, but he's just kind of stuck on top of the city, and it looks really odd.
Oh yeah, no, that's a perfect example.
Yeah. Well, these people won't understand that. But...
Yeah, no, I would say it did kind of... This film, all the kills were pretty fun. The story was serviceable enough. I will say, though, that I think the ending with, or the end sort of sequence with Pamela, is that her name? His mother?
Pamela Voorhees, yes.
Voorhees, just being like a headless zombie who reclaims her head's a bit odd. I mean, is there anything like that in those series of
Oh,
films?
she stays dead. The only time you see her be a zombie is at the end of part 3 as a reference to the first part, pulling that final girl down into the water off the boat, similar to how Jason does it in the first part.
And so that's probably where they got that from?
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I guess they brought her back because I guess they got permission to bring that first final girl back, the same actress.
Oh, yeah. That's a nice little nod.
So, and she decapitates her again. And I guess they were like, oh, this is too perfect. Let's make her decapitate her again.
Yeah.
Why would that kill her? She was walking around with no head earlier.
Yeah, I don't know. It's always how do you how is she not still alive, or her conscience or consciousness, I should say.
She never
she
physically moves around except for that part 3 thing. So
okay, because I did think that was a bit sort of silly, to my mind at least.
I liked her design. I know you guys didn't. I thought she looked kind of creepy and like fun. But
I think the issue might be she was probably in the lighting was too bright. It really kind of showed the.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, you can only believe you're seeing a headless creature. You know, like it's obviously fake, but I feel like it seemed to work more when Bear, the only character's name I remember because of his first name, like came across her and he was firing at her, because that's in shadow. There's fog. It's at night now, but like the one that I really didn't like was when she's pulling Jason's coffin out.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
That whole thing was strange. I don't know why he couldn't just like be reawakened or something and do that himself.
Normally, that's what she just like subconsciously calls out to him when he wakes up. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah,
doesn't matter. It's a pretty. It's better than a lot of Friday films. Not as good as some.
Yeah, and it's nice. Again, I don't want to come off as too critical, because obviously it's a fan film.
Fucking sucks, and you should give up. No, it doesn't. It's actually quite well made.
Yeah, and I'm keen to see where they go. They've hinted at another one. Or will they make another one? Who knows?
See what happens with Victor Miller.
Yeah, that interesting, messy copyright case.
Yeah, Victor Miller's going to be like, I mean, for all we know, he could watch it and be like, come make a real one.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see if it's what happens in that case, because I mean, I don't know where the line's drawn with like using someone's work or repurposing it, like in a fan film thing versus an official film.
It's honestly up to the discretion of the people who own the film. Like they can use it. So I mean, I don't really care.
Especially in that case, because they're using a character from his script, aren't they? The final girl.
Yes, Alice.
Yeah,
she comes back, which is weird because she actually dies in part 2. So, well, actually, I did mention it to you, but it's interesting that she came back to these movies because the first Friday actually caused her to quit acting. She never acted again.
Yeah, refresh my memory, or I guess just for the people listening, it's
people. Well, there was this one person. It might have been multiple people that were like stalking her because she was quite an attractive young woman. After the film, was released, to the point where they were like, I think they were breaking into her apartment or like found out where she lived and everything, and they were leaving things there for her all the time. And
oh, right, okay.
And she was like, I'm never acting again, which is fair enough. I wouldn't want to do that if that's what my first experience was like.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And it's not like she was living in the nice Hollywood Hills and had a big house with good security. She was just some kid living in an apartment.
Yeah, so, I mean, those films, even though they were Paramount released, a lot of them, especially the early ones. I don't think
that one even was Paramount released.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, I was going to say they're still quite cheap anyway. Like, it's not like.
Yeah, it's cheap as chips. Say?
Yeah.
As we say here. That's the first time I've ever said it in my whole life.
I mean, yeah, the only one who really probably made money off those films would be Sean Cunningham. Though, to quote Ronan the Destroyer, not anymore.
Not anymore, buddy.
That's a pretty
I think
good.
he still owns like half the rights. I think.
Yeah, I say that. I think they have. It's
It's a
international
50-50.
rights. Yeah, it's lawyers will sort it out, and then we'll find out eventually. Like Friday the 13th will still continue in some form. It's just going to be certain
And then Corey
things.
can stop fucking telling lies.
Who's that? Corey Feldman.
Tommy Jarvis, the kid version.
Oh yeah.
He's in Stand By Me. He's in Lost Boys.
What's he been up to? What's he been fibbing about?
He said it a few weeks before it happened that the Friday case got resolved. So maybe he was technically right, I guess, because I mean, a few weeks could be like between lawyers saying like the lawyer probably was like, "Yeah, we pretty much got this finished, man." Like, it's just a matter of time.
I think it depends on what he's referring to, because if it's the judgment, that he wouldn't have no knowledge. Like the judge.
He said a guy told him that the Friday case was done and they could make new movies. So a lawyer probably turned around and like maybe was like, they've pretty much come to an agreement.
Possibly.
And he's just gone and been like, they're done. Like,
yeah. Well,
so a bit of exaggeration on both people, exaggerating it to the point of saying it's done.
I mean, it would depend when he made that, because if he's referring to like the appeal, there's no way he would know that, because that's up to a judge to review the case documents and what they've said and then make a decision. He's not going to say, like, the first time he or she would publicly announce a verdict would be at the court and say, yeah, this appeal's upheld, or nah, Sean, you're drunk, mate, go home, which they did the latter, I guess. So, but it'll be interesting. Well, I'll just touch on this very briefly, but it'll be interesting to see how this affects the Disney suit with the Ditko estate, just because, I mean, it's the same lawyer. It'll probably be a bit different, but just because a judge is kind of obliged to rule in a similar way to previous rulings if there's been a similar case. So if they're able to say this matches closely to the outcome of the Friday the 13th lawsuit, the judge would theoretically say, okay, so these characters or the royalty has to go to the Ditko estate people, potentially. I mean, we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
The copyrights is very fascinating to me, but very messy, especially the US, because I think the issue will be that those characters were made before the most recent Copyright Act, which I say most recent, I think it was in the 70s. Whereas obviously Jason, or the characters from Friday the 13th, or the story, like literally just a year after, when I think it's first being written, right? 1979, 1980, something like that.
Yeah.
So very close. But yeah, that's our talk about the Jason related stuff for this special 13th episode. Really gave it a top-notch effort.
Yeah.
JK. And I guess we saw Sleepaway Camp, or we watched it.
Yeah.
It's
3 or 4 good moments.
I would agree with that.
Best part of the movie, not your mag. Or probably the ending, I guess.
The ending, yeah. Like my sort of summation of it is, it's a pretty average or subpar slash flick, but it's very much...
It's a Friday rip-off, but then they were like, what if we had this really out there twist ending?
Yeah, it's saved by the ending and one or two interesting kind of characters along the way related to that ending. I knew about it in advance, though, because it's like... I won't spoil it. Yeah, I won't spoil it just in case anyone listening is like, I might see that. But yeah, there's a reference to it in a video game. I was watching someone stream it. It's like an indie game, and you see a character, and you go, oh, that's a bit odd. And then the game is like, oh, that's from Sleepaway Camp. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I know the twist. What a shame.
We also watched one other movie that was so horrific, so terrifying, that we actually had to turn it off.
Oh shit, yeah. No, we decided to watch, for whatever reason, I can't remember whose decision it was, Wonder Woman 1984. It
would be fun to make fun of the movie, to be honest.
Yeah, because I heard it was kind of like a messy film in the sense that Spider-Man 3 is messy, where, there could be some nice moments and there could be some laugh-out-loud things to enjoy, or maybe a Batman and Robin thing. And for whatever you want to say about Batman and Robin, at least we made it through the 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like...
we were watching it, and I was just kind of like, I just was like, I wonder how long this movie's got left. I scrolled my mouse, I'm like, an hour, and I just said to everybody, I was like, I can't watch this for another hour, fellas. Like, it's not even funny at this point. It's just horrible. It's just bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny the first few times we saw Kristen Wiig's character with her glasses reflected a CG green screen, which was pretty hilarious. But then, when she no longer needs them, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm not interested anymore.
Yeah. And there's so many points where it's just making me cringe. Like, I liked Diana and Steve in the first movie. Cringe as hell. Like, oh my lord.
Yeah.
Painful to watch in this movie.
Yeah. I would also say it really starts off weak. To put it lightly, it kind of feels like they missed doing the origin childhood sequence for the first film, and so they said, oh, let's put that in the second one. So the first sort of 10, 15 minutes is just one woman as a kid, and I do not give a shit.
And it teaches her that she sometimes has to do things the right way, not cheat. Which, at the end, I guess means that she's not allowed to keep her boyfriend.
Somehow, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, everyone sort of talked about the implications of that. We'll touch on that quite briefly.
Rape.
Yeah, pretty much. So he is someone who's basically is just transformed into Steve, but I mean, everyone can see who it is. Like, actually, except for her, she sees Steve, and
he refuses to see the guy.
Yeah, she puts him in mortal danger in several parts. She sleeps with him, and you go, okay.
Sus,
yeah, quite sus. But I mean,
and then you get to the point, like, about the wishing stone, where you're like, this is such a fucking dumb plot device. Like, the amount of times, like, people just wish for, like, and then at the end, we didn't make it to the end, Jack, but at the end, right, they Pedro Pascal's character Max Lord wishes a device that allows him to connect to everybody in the world at the same time,
right,
over their TVs,
so that he can then, like,
device, which makes no sense because he states that he has to touch them to make the wishes earlier on. But anyway, he asked them to wish for everything, blah 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 blah. They all make their wishes, and then Wonder Woman's like, "Oh, stop your wishes! We gotta save the day. Don't undo your wishes."
And it just happens.
So many, everybody undoes their wishes. What about the people that wish they were dead because they're depressed?
Yeah,
what about the people who wish the world would end because they're edgy teenagers?
What about the people who don't want to reclaim their, like, rescind their wish?
What about people who was living in poverty whose wish it was to feed their families
or not have cancer anymore?
Yeah. What about those people?
Oh well.
Is that selfish, Diana? Is that selfish? I don't think it is.
Norm Macdonald died because of you, Diana.
Damn. Nah. Him and cancer just had a draw, bro.
That's true, yeah. That's probably a nice way to kind of look at it, I suppose.
That's the beauty of comedy. Sometimes they look at tragic things as in such a light way that you're like, you know what? Maybe it's not so bad.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe that movie's not so bad.
No, that movie's definitely bad.
It fucking sucked. No.
I was bored. I was just very bored. And I guess also we all kind of were making a remark on this watching it, but the way they kind of turned Cheetah into, like, her character, like, becoming villainous, she runs into this guy who was like, she almost kills someone, but he was creeping on her and probably was going to rape her if Diana didn't intervene. And we're sitting here going, okay. I mean, I'm rooting for her, really. Like,
I would have done the same thing.
It's probably not ideal, but
down myself.
Yeah, I can understand why she's doing it. He's certainly scum. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a scene you'd shoot. Like, it should just be someone.
It's like it should have been the homeless guy that she was nice to, if anything.
Or if
not that drastic, but just like maybe like I don't know, slash him with some claws or something.
And she runs off freaked out, going, "What the fuck? I didn't know I could do that." And then she sort of slowly whatever.
Oh, that happened after she, like, lifted fucking however many, like 140 fucking kilos over her head without any good form.
Yeah.
And also somehow found a screw-on dumbbell in the gym. Even though that's like stuff you get at Kmart or Walmart, I guess, if you're American.
Speaking of being American, maybe someone can answer this in the comments, but we were confused why people were freaking out that a guy dropped a gun in a mall. I guess it would depend on the state, or maybe they're not allowed in a mall, but like, I'm sure that happens a lot of times where they just legally are carrying a firearm and drop it.
Yeah, somebody just drops it by accident, or it falls out of their pocket or something.
Like,
I wonder if anybody's been shot by a misfire of a gun falling out of somebody's pocket.
I feel like that was in that's in something. That's in a comedy movie or something. They chuck the gun, drop the gun, and then it goes off. What's that from? It's Hot Fuzz. Yeah. Fuck, that's funny.
He shoots the priest in the toe, and he goes, "Jesus Christ!" And falls over. That's actually one of my favorite moments in the whole movie.
Yeah. That's just. We'll have to talk about that one day. Wash the taste out of Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really have any relevance beyond funny dress-up sequence. Wasn't the 80s weird with fashion?
Funny. It's so cringe, man. It's so bad. The best thing I can say about it is sometimes it looked good. Like that fireworks scene was nice. It looked nice.
Yeah.
What about when she struggles to open a lock earlier in the movie?
With
her super strength?
She's losing her powers,
And then, like, days later, she's pushing a fucking military truck sideways up the highway faster than the trucks are actually driving away from her.
Yeah.
And her powers are fading because she gets a little bit tired while she does it. She couldn't open a bloody lock earlier, man.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. I don't know. Yeah. If you want to watch like a nice chase sequence set in Egypt, just watch Indiana Jones. Hey, bringing it full circle.
And on that note,
damn, we should probably end this because I've got to go eat some food.
I'm going to go pick somebody up.
Yes. So I guess really quick.
Recording. Sorry for everybody who heard me eating.
No worries. And our question is, what film did you not make it through? This actually might be the first film I just gave up on. No joke.
You're not even going to like go back and have a look? I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not. Fuck that. That's the first time in X number of years I've been on this earth that I've actually given up on a movie. Wow. I just realized that now. But yeah.
That's sad. That's actually sad.
Of all the shit I've seen, there's that one. But yeah, what film have you given up on and not returned to? Or don't plan to return to? It could be for any reason. Goodbye.
See ya.
Scuffed episode 13.